Welcome back. You're watching Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. It's a trend that's been gaining momentum in the last few years. I'm talking about creative professionals donning the entrepreneurial hat, starting their own independent agencies. And to the surprise of many, churning out some really cutting-edge work. But what's even more surprising is the way big clients have taken to these hot shops. They're in fact openly showing their willingness to work with them, so much so that they're even willing to put their long-lasting relationship with their current agency in jeopardy. Samriti Grover finds out what's making these independents a big hit amongst the client fraternity and how they're slowly proving to be a sizable threat for the big daddies.
Agency per se cannot make much of a difference. It's the people in the agency who make the difference.
The game is shifting to creatively more engaging work. This is the game that they would like to play because it benefits in many ways.
Big accounts and an award-winning lineup to boast about. A few things that were associated only with big network agencies, but not anymore. The last 3 years are witness to these facts with the rise of the independents. Young, dynamic and cutting edge. These hot shops are definitely giving the big daddies a run for their money, with big brands openly showing their eagerness to work with this newer lot. A wave that seems to be challenging and changing the advertising landscape.
Brands today are no longer just talking a film. They're not just talking a TVC. They are talking about an integrated communication approach where maybe the first thing that they present to the client could be a big idea in the form of a digital idea. So, a lot of these so-called new agencies, smaller agencies or creative hot shops are fundamentally thinking differently. Ideas cannot be generated if you live brief to brief, or you're running to another meeting and thinking of a client only 5 minutes before a meeting or 5 minutes after. So I think it's those good old days when David Ogilvy said that your agency should know more about the business than the client does. And this model actually offers that.
The real game changers being Taproot, founded by Agnello Dias and Santosh Padi. And Creative Land Asia, founded by Raj Kurup and Vikram Gaikwad, with the former having close to 15 accounts such as the Times of India Group, DSP Maryland, UTV Group, Pepsi, and now even the telecom major Airtel in their kitty in a span of only 2.5 years.
Earlier, if a client had to shift an agency, to a certain extent it involved rocking the boat because it involved a rethink on many functions of, say, the communication marketing mix. Now, because those are separate moving parts, looking elsewhere for a creative option does not involve rocking the boat because everybody else stays the same. They just get the creative brief from a different source as opposed to the agency that was giving it earlier.
We offer a very big canvas for our agencies. And because of that, I think we found that not just Aggie, but most of his creative, the hottest colleagues that he had were dying to work on our brand. So we actually never faced the problem of having to fight for his time when he was at Thomson. And we would have happily stayed there had he continued to be there, right? But we would have found our own ways to motivate creative people in that agency. It's only because he set out to start on his own. And this is not basically a comment on Thomson per se, but certainly in our own experience, we found a vacuum. So we worked with Thomson for a while, but we found a bit of a vacuum. So we decided, especially when Aggie was able to assure us that he had the ability to handle it all, so we handed over a part of the account to begin with and then all of it at a later point in time.
Creative Land, on the other hand, created a lot of buzz with their edgy and refreshing advertising for Fruity and Hippo.
That was from there and we actually put the boat. Yeah.
But it announced its entry as a force to reckon with when it backed the 65 crore Audi account.
If you look at, there is a distinct flavor to the kind of work that a lot of our clients like to do. This more cutting edge. It's not just doing an ad for the heck of it. And we've just tried our level best to make sure that we go and handpick people like that and let them handpick us, and that's made all the difference.
Other
Other independents that have recently begun their innings are Scarecrow, founded by Manish and Raghu Bhatt, who have managed to woo close to 25 brands within 2 years, with Religare being their biggest account, which recently moved 75% of business from Ogilvy to Scarecrow. The latest advertising entrepreneur in town is Preeti Nair, former creative head of BBS, and Nagesh Pannaswamy, who founded Curry Nation 7 months ago. And big FMCG names like Cabin Care and Imami are already on board.
What we really like about the team at Scarecrow, Raghu, Manish, Joy, and the entire team is they're very quick to turn around, and I think somewhere they can get good breakthrough ideas on the table quicker than someone else.
It has to do with a lot to do with the kind of relationships that you can manage with clients when you are smaller. I think a lot of that gets lost when the organization is very big. You don't, there are times when you don't deal with the people who are the key people within an organization.
Also, the fact that these agencies are not aligned to any global network is working in their favor, and a big edge over the smaller agencies in the market.
Aligned businesses are only going to make people feel a lot more claustrophobic in the long run, and a free market is what is really going to work, where you have the freedom to work with whoever you want to work with. A lot of times I've seen, and in our experience, and if you look at a lot of the clients that we handle, there is a slight bit of a premium that comes in when you're working with a shop like ours. But at the end of the day, the value for it is absolutely justified.
I have a number of clients telling that, okay, large agencies pushing the electronic media, and that's the reason we want to move. And they're not getting the integration in that sense. The larger agency, another problem is that having networks have silos, so they have to work with 4 companies, 4 egos at the same time.
The above trend, while encouraging for both clients and talented young professionals, is a dangerous one for the traditional agencies. It's a warning of sorts for them to pay attention and pull up their stock. In-depth chats with the entrepreneurs bring out rather interesting insights. It's not about the money they save, but more to do with the need for space, freedom, and flexible creativity, past the shackles of corporate politics and top-line pressures. Hopefully, these hot shops will maintain their creative edge in the coming years and not fall prey to balance sheet considerations. While you digest that and ponder about starting your own venture, we'll go in for a short break. But up next is something you would not want to miss. Brand Equity did a little bakra on Balki. Stay tuned to find out.